Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Hi. Happy Saturday or Sunday, whenever you're watching this. Happy birthday to your daughter. Hi, Chad. My brother's here. Hi from the UK. So I wanted to jump on. Good evening. Talk about what's happening with us right now. What's going on internally and externally. Hi, Melbourne, Ireland, Holland. Thank you so much for the badge, Vibing 5D. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, let me do something. Give me 1 second.
Hello. Yellow. Oh my God, there are
There you
people in
are.
here. Hi. It's the pageant.
What's this? Dude, what's
Your
this?
hair?
Yeah, it's all
Hello.
functified. The pageant?
Uh, What up, yo?
What's up? Um,
Good morning.
Good morning, Phil.
I'm
How
very
are
well,
you?
and I slept
Okay.
well, and yeah, things are good. How are
Yeah.
you?
Things are really well. Oh my goodness gracious. I feel so good. I feel really good.
You look clear.
I feel clear. I feel
You look
I
very
do. I
clear.
just woke up, so I mean, this is happening. But yeah,
I
I
had the
feel really
best avocado
clear.
toast in my life yesterday, and it was in Larchmont the whole time, and I didn't
What,
know, but it's this place called Go Get 'Em Tiger. And they put
that's an
chimichurri on
interesting
it,
name.
and it was just, I don't know, but it was
What's
so good, Lori.
chimichurri?
Like, it's one of those things that I can crave every day.
Is
I think
chimichurri like
so.
an
So they put
Indian
avocado
seasoning?
and like parsley and chimichurri. It was amazing. It was like so
Oh my
fresh.
God, that sounds
Anyways,
delicious.
I did, yeah, and it
Did
was
you go
so
with your
nice
sis?
yesterday. And it's going to be even nicer today, but we just sat in the sun and had lattes, and I had the avocado toast.
That sounds amazing. I love
Me
avocado
too.
toast, you know? Um, my screen just
It
went
did?
dark. That's so weird.
You didn't go dark on this end.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good. I'm really happy about
Me
that. I'm really
too.
happy to be connected with you right now. I feel I feel like we could talk a little bit about I'm just gonna move back a bit.
I was watching when you invited me on. Teal Swan did an update and it was completely on the nose. No, it was about like
Oh shit, what was
sometimes
it?
we wait for people to come. And so we're standing at the end of a bowling alley and we're waiting for the ball to come, but we have to throw the ball. Like we have to be the ones who will finally throw the ball. I don't know what she said
That's
exactly,
so
but I was
interesting.
watching it and it was really,
Talking
really on
about
target with what's going on right now.
yeah, that is very, very similar to what we were talking about. It's interesting though, because what I'm experiencing is the fact that like we have to throw the ball or like the work that we have to do or the there it's all for me it's there isn't anything I'm supposed to do. That's the weird, that's the like dichotomy of it. It's like there's like internal awareness that I need to constantly have. So don't
Right.
go back to sleep kind of feeling. Don't, there's this internal work that's constantly
Yes.
occurring through awareness, but I'm not actually physically efforting to
Yeah,
create anything in my
exactly.
life.
Exactly. I, yeah, you're not physically
Do you know
efforting.
what
Yeah,
I mean? Like I'm not in
I get
charge.
it. I feel like for me, what's going on is I'm energetically bursting through walls because I know who I am. And I'm laying it all out there. Like I'm opening up. I'm like, I need this and I need that. But it's not coming from a place of like desperation. It's coming from a place of it is time. So I'm not doing anything.
It
I'm
is
just showing up. But energetically, I'm
right.
bursting through walls.
And the way that it's showing up for you is there it is impossible for you to not be 100% authentically vulnerably you. Like it can't, we've said this a lot, but it's like it's
Right.
continuing to show up in tiny ways. um but also there's magic to, like, for instance, with like your own personal experience that you had a couple of days ago, that realization of this person coming in and everything was just so
Mm,
beautiful. There was an
no,
effort
there
in
was an
that.
effort. Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? So it's like we're doing things, but we're also not doing things. Like you didn't have to do anything for that
Yeah.
exchange to
Right.
happen.
And the timing of it.
In that
Yeah. And
moment,
it's
you
like the
did
timing
it.
of it. And it's like if you lead with distrust and if you lead with, I don't know about you, if you lead with that, you're not going to succeed. You literally have to put it out there.
Yeah.
You have to say this is it's all about forward movement right now. It's all about forward. Like I'm going in
Yeah.
because I already know who I am. So the only place I'll end up is where I already am spiritually, but I'll end up there in the physical. You
Yes. You can't give
yeah,
up.
it's
You
almost
have
like
to
I
keep
finally have a
going.
newfound respect for people who are more Tony Robbinish, even though I've never watched any of his videos, but I kind of understand it's more of a boof approach. I finally have more of a respect for you know who you are and you're not gonna accept anything less, so you're gonna make it happen. That's the kind of the energy right now. Like
Yeah.
you're not gonna accept anything other than who you already are, so you're gonna make sure to slash through that jungle until you experience all of that physically. But it's not driven by the external, it's driven by the internal. It's driven of like this is my knowingness, this is who I am, and I'm not going to accept anything less than that. It's weird, it's an interesting time.
Yeah. And it is really interesting because it's a different experience. It's a different expression. It's like the
Right.
buck stops here. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm actually done. I'm done playing in any unconsciousness. I'm done playing in any realities that are but but at the same time, when for me, when the really deep unconscious or quite conscious limiting belief may can't come up, like you're not a good teacher, you suck, no one's going to listen to you, like when that pops up, it's about the awareness of it, and the feeling of like, F you, I'm done. Um I'm not allowing this or playing with this anymore, but you're also not efforting
That's
to
the
change
thing.
anything.
Yeah,
That's the
there's a
piece.
difference between feeling divinely pushed to do something. Because if you've been waiting a long time and you've been okay with waiting a long time, then you know that when it's no longer time to wait, then it's time to move. It's time to go. So it's like the difference between is it driven by ego or is it spirit impulsing you to catapult your life? And that's what it feels like. I don't know that probably made no sense, but it's kind of like
No, it did.
the being able to differentiate between an impulse from spirit, like I'm done with this, I'm good, I'm going. Like I completed the chapter, I filled in the grid and now it's time to go. And then the difference between that and am I reacting, or am I operating or making a decision from a closed heartedness? And if it's coming from a closed heartedness, then it's just your ego. I feel like right now it's, are you charging ahead because you've been sitting a long time and time's up, like it's time to go, and trust that you will meet the right people and you will meet, everything will fall into place, which is why you're being impulsed to go, which is why you're being impulsed to maybe socialize with someone who says, hey, do you want to go for coffee? Like, it's like, what's showing up in your life,
Right.
can
Right.
you say yes to it? And maybe you're not supposed to say yes to it, maybe you still need to stay in that hermit mode, I don't know. But this is a time of saying yes and really trusting our hearts, and leaning into whatever presents itself.
Yeah, it's so interesting trying to dissect, trying to
Because it's
describe it
both,
in
it's both,
words
it's
because
both, and it's like
it's
50-50.
both.
It's
It's
like,
both.
and it's happening,
Exactly.
the toggle is happening very rapidly. There are a lot of fluctuations, but it's like you don't get sucked into them, you just wait for the next thing to happen.
And it takes practice. Um, it takes practice toggling between ego
Yeah,
and, let's just call it, resonance, okay? Or, source, spirit, higher self, whatever word you want to use. To me, it's just the resonance. It's the highest expression of you, right? So you have to
right.
learn what that feels like in order for you to be able to toggle and play in this game of going back and forth, because the highest resonance to me is forward
And without
movement without
resistance,
effort
because resistance is effort.
and without resistance and without, yes, efforting, resisting, restriction, figuring out, trying to make sense of, logic.
Exactly.
That's
The other thing
not
is, that I've been noticing this week,
resonance.
just interacting with different people, is if I'm being met with resistance, then if I say something to clear that resistance, I'll quickly know if they're on a regressive path or if they're in. And yesterday I was called out too. They were like, "Hey, you're resisting this right now. I need you to just dive." And because they were conscious enough, then it's like, "Oh, you're right." So we still have
Mm.
wiggle room to clean up past trauma, to know that we are now safe. And I'm speaking so cryptically today, but I think what I'm trying to say is, if you hold back with people, if they don't call you out, then you're not supposed to try to make it happen. If they call you out, then they're like
Mm.
encouraging collaboration, they're encouraging non-resistance. If you are being met with resistance, you also have to say something. And if if they don't want to, then you know they're on a regressive path. Like, what I'm trying to say is, you cannot get it wrong if you lead with your heart right now. Does that make sense? Like, you cannot get it wrong
Yes.
if you
Yeah.
are leading with your heart.
And I think leading with your heart for me is, there's no blame. There's no they're wrong, I'm right. There's no I'm higher than, they're lower than. For me, from being in the heart is, yes, I'm going to read
Yes.
the energy. Okay. And I'm going to read the exchange that's occurring energetically, strictly energetically. That's, so I'm going to see shadow, or I'm going to see trigger, I'm going to see resistance, whatever I'm going to see, I'm going to feel that energetically. But when I come from heart, I'm stepping out of any sort of duality around the experience, and I'm strictly sort of responding based on my highest resonance or my energetic expression. So love to me is highest expression or highest resonance, and love to me is honoring the energetic exchange without any sort of
Yeah.
like labeling or judging. That to me is um is what I'm coming from quote
Yes,
unquote
I also feel
love.
like right now,
Um,
with regard to what you just said, love and open heartedness pushes out all the stories and you can level with someone. You know, you could, so they're talking about this or that or that, or they're skirting around an issue, right? And that's the focus of the conversation is supposed to be me and you. Yo, let's talk. Like, what do you want? What do you need? And it pushes out outside of the circle all the skirting around or the pleasantries or the little critters. It's like where we at. It's almost like time is of the essence right now. I can't explain it, but time is of the essence, and we don't have time to skirt around anymore. We don't. It's like we're at the same. We're leveling with each other and we're what's the word I'm looking for? Not drowning out, but we're pushing out all the potential noise without judging it. It's like, yo,
yeah,
yeah,
it's
it's
so
like, yo, we're off shooting right
without
now.
judgment.
Can we just stay on topic? What's going on?
We have no, there's no time. You're wasting my time. And it's not even like a wasting of my time, but when you're in those engagements and you can feel that it's, to me, it's it's such an unconsciousness that it literally feels like a waste of energy and time. Like I feel like I'm literally um, like, how do I describe this? Uh, like somebody just opened up like a little drain in my energetic body, and like all this wasted energy is going out. It's like what are we doing here? Let's stay in the aligned state that we're designed to be in, but that was based on this conversation, and let's do this. But I think so many people are unconscious that they don't realize what they're pulling from somewhere else and bringing into the conversation that
Right,
has nothing to do with the
right,
conversation, has nothing to do with me. Why are you bringing in something that is from some other? That's why presence is so key. Think about it. When you're in absolute presence with somebody in that moment, you're not pulling from trauma. You're not pulling from the past. You're not pulling from the future. If you're strictly present, you can't pull, you can't even pull shadow. If you're present with the energetic exchange, if you're present with it, then
yes,
you're just going to be doing this. You'll just be doing this, but I don't think people know how to stay in that present state without
right.
pulling from the I don't
Yeah,
think we
yeah.
know how
And I
to
think
do
it
that
also has to
yet.
do with like not only the trauma piece side, sometimes we can talk about other things because we're flirting with other ideas. But so it can also be positive, but meaning you and I know we're about to connect on a deep level. Let's just talk about whatever, like we're just flirting with the energies. And I feel like right now we don't have time for that. It's like,
Right.
what do you need from me? How can I help you?
No.
Like this is a time to build relationships. It really feels, I feel like this month is really about relationships. It's really about, um is there some way that we can um enhance each other's lives personally? Is there some way that we can support each other? I feel like we've done the alone thing, and now it's time to build relationships because everything is relationship. Even when you were alone, you were in relationship with the universe, you were in relationship with the higher self. Now it's like, can you apply that to the physical world? Like, can you apply that
Yeah.
to the physical world? So you've been open-hearted in your home when
Yeah.
you're alone. Can you now be open-hearted when you're conversing with someone? Can you now meet people where you want to be met? I feel like that's the theme right now. You can't just hold back and expect people to meet you. You have to meet them. You have to meet them first a lot of times right now. Like you literally have to dish it out there, pour out your heart and be like boom. And then if they're not interested, you'll right away know. Like you'll know they're not there, right? And they'll do the same for you.
Yeah.
Like if you're kind of being resistant or you have reservations about things, they'll pull you out of that and remind you, are you in or not? Like this needs to be mutual.
Yeah. It is interesting. I feel like the universe is bringing people into our lives right now in order to ask us or test us. I don't think it's a test, but I'm just going to use that
Yeah,
word. Are we ready? Are we ready? Are you ready?
right.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Each time, each person that's coming in, or each opportunity that you're being given, or each request to go do something, or a conversation with somebody that you haven't had in years, or whatever it is, it's we've done all of this internal preparation work, right? And now the physical
Exactly.
world is starting to meet us. And it's like, are you ready? Can you be authentic? Can you be 100%? Can you be you? Can you meet yourself where you need to be, regardless
Exactly.
of where the other
Yeah.
person is? Because for so long, it's like we mold ourselves to the situation in order to keep it homeostasis, in order to appease, in order to please, in order to not rattle. And now it's like, listen, you guys have done all this internal rearranging. Now we're going to start bringing people in to allow you to play in this new version. Are
Yeah.
you going to play in the new version?
Yeah. I
Are
feel
you
like
going
this
to
is a
show
time
up in
to
that
really step into
version?
the bigness of our minds. You know, I've noticed for years now, like when people zone in on details, like, oh, look at what she's wearing, or look at that's to me, that's small mindedness. Like they're dropping into the details of what's happening in that moment. People who are busy creating, even eating is an afterthought. Everything's an afterthought. You don't have to, your mind is so large. It's so inventive and so creative that like you don't drop into the details of life. You don't care. So I feel like we're also does that make sense?
Right.
It's like if you have
Yeah.
like a movie director, he doesn't have time to think about, oh, my mom did this to me, or like, oh, can you believe this guy didn't call me back? They don't have time for that. Like that's we no longer have time to drop into details of life. That's a lower, slower vibration.
Mm-mm.
The higher vibration, everything's an afterthought. You know, some people will put a lot of thought into what restaurant they go to. The movie director will end up at that same restaurant, but they were in their sweatpants and there was no thought. Hey, we're hungry. Let's go. Boom. So it does that like it's almost like I see it as
Yeah.
when you're a very high vibrating being, you can hold so many realities that they're all like an afterthought, and you're on to the next one.
And you don't
Right.
even
You
really
don't
need
need
to
to
make
make
a
a
decision
decision.
until the decision, yeah, the decision sort of starts to happen for you. It's really strange. The decision happens for you, even though you do have to say the yes, or you do have to push the button, or what. There is a
Of
you
course.
do have to participate, but it's happening for you. So it's almost like you don't even know
Yeah.
how you got there. You don't know how this happened because you didn't effort into it or push it or try to. This is about not we're literally living now, when you start moving into these higher states, where you're
No,
not
you're
trying to
not.
make
You're
anything
not.
happen.
Yeah,
It's freaking weird.
and I feel like you get
You
so
don't.
much more done in less amount of time also. And there's no thought involved. There's no, it's just you're being carried by the wind. And yeah, it's an interesting time right now. I really feel, uh-huh. No,
Do you think do you think
no, it's
people
too deep.
understand what we're do you
I
think
think
this
they
is
do. I think a lot of people do. No, no, no. I do. Actually, I take that back. I think a lot of people get it, but it's very, the way that we're talking right now is very energetic. It's not practical. It's not. It's
right?
like, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it is what it is right now. That's what's showing up. But I feel like going back to the details of life, like spending time on the details of life to me is a waste of time now. And I also feel like that ties in with relationship. Like if you know who you are and what you're here to do on this earth, there's no more time to like think about doing a little podcast together or thinking about this. It's like, no, we need to focus on the foundation for the future. It's like there's no more time
Yeah.
to make small decisions to blow them up, to make mountains out of molehills. That's not important. The people that you're in relationship with right now is, do they have a shared interest and a shared passion for building something that can truly change the world? There's no time to think about, oh,
Yeah.
hey, let's offshoot and do a podcast together. No, but why are you doing the podcast? What's your eventual goal? Can we instead just focus on the goal together? Do we have resources to build
Right.
together? First you build, then you
Yeah.
do, then you have fun. But before we get to the fun of the podcast and before we get to the fun of that, can we build something solid where there's a higher purpose and a higher
Mm-hmm.
calling that we share? And we're both investors in that reality,
Yeah.
financially or emotionally. But there's a higher purpose. And like before we get to the details of doing this podcast together or whatever, are we going to be in this for the long haul? Like I really feel like this is a time to co-build. I really do.
It require and that what you just described requires patience. It requires
Yeah.
surrendering. It requires trust. It requires letting go of control. Because what happens is when two people come together and they can feel the chemistry or the energy or whatever this is, it's magic, it's whatever, right? They're going to want to make something happen. And this, what you're talking about is allowing the chemistry or the magic between the two humans, allowing that to build in and of itself by itself, as opposed to, oh
Bingo.
my God, let's go do this. Let's go do this.
Bingo. You
That's the
nailed it.
ego. That's the ego saying, oh my God, we're supposed to do this. We're supposed to do this. It's like, no, the building is in the silence. It's in the quietness. It's in the communication that you're having, the connection that you're having, the
You
dinners that you
nailed it.
have.
Like you got
That's
it.
where it
That's
is.
everything you just said is right on the money with what it's basically what I just said. You nailed it. You nailed it.
Right. Yeah. I feel like that's what you and
Yeah,
I
we
have
built
done for a couple
us.
of years. And we've tried to do these, yeah, we've tried to do these offshoots and we've never grabbed it because it's never been from universe, meaning it's never been from, it's always been from an ego, and nothing wrong with it, the ego, right? But it's always been from some sort of like, what are we supposed to do next? That's the
Yeah,
ego
and if you
trying to
think
take
about that, like
charge.
if you and I had just met and we're like, oh my God, let's go do an event. Oh my God, let's go do that. You're still playing in the thought realm. Those are thoughts. So you're actually every time you do it, you're being pulled back into a matrix. But if you stay focused on building energetically, emotionally with that person, then there's a foundation that's being established. Everything else has the potential. What I'm trying to say is everything else has the potential to blow up in your face because you moved into a distraction. You didn't stay focused on the
Yes.
core. You,
Yes. Because what's happening, and I did my video on this morning, what's happening with all of us, it doesn't matter what relationship you're in, none of that matters. What's happening with every single human, whether you're aware of it or not, is that there's this alchemical energetic process happening with all of us. So let's just take you and I for an example. We came together. There is a higher purpose for you and I coming together. There is a higher purpose for most humans that come together in any sort of connection or relationship. Otherwise, why are you coming together? That higher purpose is energetic. But when you come together, you can feel, oh my God, there's something here, there's something here, there's something here. What is this? What is this? Right? But when you let the alchemical process happen, the highest outcome for you and
no,
I hasn't hit yet. Our highest outcome hasn't hit yet because we individually are not at that highest expression yet. So until you and I are at our highest expressions
mm-hmm.
individually, so our highest aligned state, which I guess there isn't really a highest aligned state. That's impossible. But in terms of the click of now we're off to the races, whether it's a romantic relationship, a partnership, a friendship, there is a click that will happen energetically, alchemically, where it will meet the highest potential for that. And then the experience, the opportunity comes in. Then it's like, oh my God, this feels right.
Right.
This is it. And it's effortless. But that's the building I see happening in relationship.
And I almost feel,
Um,
you know what I'm getting? I'm
and I
almost
think it's
feeling like
happening
this is what I'm
fast.
getting. When you're with that person, like when you and I are together and there are different ideas that crop up, right? There's actually nothing wrong with talking about them. That's how you build. That's how you build. Is like, how do you feel about this? Da, 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 da. But it doesn't mean you're going to jump into that idea. It means you're basically evaluating where you guys are, if you're on the same page, if this is truly divinely orchestrated. Think about what we've done. Hey, should we go travel next week? And then we just talk about it and we end up not doing it. But that's the building of the relationship. So you might meet people right now that
Right.
you're supposed to collaborate with or not supposed to collaborate with, but by talking about these ideas, you're able to continue to forge forward without necessarily doing that idea.
Right. And both people have to
Yeah,
be okay with that. That's the key, because you have to be okay with saying, "Oh my God, we should go do that," and then totally
exactly.
be
And
okay with
there's going to be
never
a bit of
doing
a
it.
permission slip right now to allow the person to be resistant for a moment. There's a permission slip. There's a permission slip right now so that we can really assess if we're fully safe together. If we're just playing out old stuff temporarily so that we can come together. But that requires a certain awareness. I don't know if that made sense, but like
Big time.
if you and I talk and we're talking about
Yeah.
ideas and you can sense my resistance around the idea, it doesn't matter because I'm aware that I'm resistant, and then we could talk about that too.
Yeah, and this is an important piece as well. I mean, you might have a different take on it, but let's see, how do I say this? I when you're building, or when you're coming together in the beginning, or you've been together for years, but you're learning how to be in different ways now within that individual or a brand new person. Um, I believe that it's extremely important to um, I'm going back and forth because I kind of know what you're going to say, but I don't believe that it's
Yeah.
about the other individual. So, but I understand the gold in saying, "Hey, you're being resistant," or "Hey, this is." I understand the gold in that. Um, but there's a fine line for me between, "Hey, you're being resistant," or "Hey, you should look at this," or "You should," pointing something out to somebody. To me, and we've had this conversation before because I always go to what would Jesus do. Pointing out what somebody is doing or how they're reacting or responding, to me, has a little bit of a lower vibration or a lower frequency expression than seeing it, watching it, allowing it, but not um, being
Interesting.
impacted by it.
I think
That to me, that to me feels like a higher way of being, but I understand
yes, to me they're
both. Does
both
this make
high,
sense?
but it also depends on what you're here to do with that person. So like it's okay, everything you just said I agree with in terms of energy. Meaning if you say something to me, I know you're working in the energetic realm. I'm not going to interject myself. You're still building in the energetic
Correct.
realm. When something shows up and it's something that
Correct.
you're supposed to do physically, like an example would be we're supposed to buy a property together or we're supposed to buy a retreat together.
Okay.
Hey, you're resisting this. You know why we're here. You know why
Right.
we've met. Let's not fight the contract. Do you see the difference? So that's how I feel because my relationship with you is very
Right.
energetic. It's very energetic. It's not physical.
Yes.
It's not. It's not time for that, and we know that intuitively. My relationship with this other person who's just come into my life is purely physical. Purely, it's about like our souls have come
Right.
together, and there's no fucking time to waste. Let's get this thing off the ground. So at that point, it's not energetic anymore.
Right.
At that point, it's the energy showing up in the physical and saying it's time. This is it. The person's in front of you telling you this is it. You got it?
Oh, got it.
I can't read the
Yeah.
comments. Can you tell me what
But
people are
that's
saying
that's
with regard to that?
that makes sense. You two are so cute. When someone told me how to respond, I got mad and then told her how to respond for me. I need to forgive myself. What are you talking about? Boundaries. Someone said, "Wow." Yes, you definitely need to be
You
super
do,
comfortable with the
super
person to
comfortable.
do
So, for
that.
instance, Lori, I'll just use this as an example. Let's say your life partner comes in, right? You're
No,
okay.
I get what you're
Yeah.
saying, but yeah. But
So
someone
do you
said
want, okay,
explain
let me
better,
just
so go
use
ahead.
just an example. Your life partner comes in, my life partner comes in, whatever. Your life partner comes in. You, because you're so used to working energetically, you're like, this can't be it. But if it shows up and it is it, and it knows that it's it, and the guy looks at you and says, hey, like, let's fly to Italy tomorrow, and you're like, I don't know, and
Yeah.
you're so used to being in the energetic realm, you're thinking, well, I need to go back and check in energetically, and the guy's like, no, 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 where are you going? This is it. Like,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
this
yeah,
is
yeah,
it,
yeah,
Lori.
yeah. Yeah, I could.
Like this is happening.
Yeah, but that's very different than
Yeah,
sort of pointing out some sort of like
right.
internal
But that,
shadowy
if you're doing,
bullshit
but
shit. You know what I mean?
here's the thing. It's the same thing with a different soul contract. In other words, if I pointed out something shadowy about you, that would be an infringement because you and I are still, we know there's nothing we need to do in the physical yet.
Oh, I see what you're
So
saying.
to me, actually, the
Shit.
super comfortable thing is more physically oriented. Like there's things we need to do. There's no time to waste. Let's comfort each other. Let's sync up with each other, knowing that we are spirit in form. Spirit has brought us together.
Right.
So at that point, every shadow has to be pointed out
Right.
because there's a bit of a healing process,
Yeah.
like a quick, you know how like when you die, apparently you go through like a car wash. There's a bit of a car wash, like yo, reframe, like oh,
Yeah.
this is happening. So there's a like kind of like a car wash process that happens very fast.
It's like yeah, it's like click, click,
Yep,
click. Okay, done with that one. Oh, okay, got that one. Okay. It's like it's
exactly.
happening so fast. It's like
No,
it's not a healing or some sort of like trauma bullshit. It's like a slap. Like, oh, got it. Okay, next. Okay, got it.
exactly.
Next. Okay, got it.
If the
Next.
person is
So
aware on a
I
soul
understand what
level,
you're
if the
saying, but
person's
I
aware
also
on a
think
soul level, and you're aware on a soul level of what's happening, then actually there's only pointing out of the shadow, but it's not shadow. It's like did it like yeah, like the click, like you said. It's hard to explain. It's kind of like if you met you know, and like I know I want to eventually be in a monogamous relationship. If someone showed up and was like, it's me, like I've arrived, and they could only do that if they were at your level of awareness. They would have to be, right?
exactly.
If they weren't at your level of awareness, then it would become an energetic game. It wouldn't be verbal because that's not the person that you're in a contract with. Like you and
Got it.
I obviously have a contract, but it's still, you and I still have a
I
contract,
understand what
but there's
you're saying.
nothing
It
for
makes
us to do
sense.
physically, and we both individually know that because we're both at the same level of awareness. So pointing out the shadow would make no sense right
Yeah,
now
yeah, yeah.
because there's nothing for us to do but to just continue
Right,
to be and dance with the energy and build.
right. So essentially, like when it becomes physical, when the energetic world turns into the physical, and here you are
Exactly.
faced with the physical manifestation of it all, then it becomes
It's only
action
action
oriented,
oriented.
almost like a yeah, and it's also a quickening. If you're at that level of awareness, so I want to be very clear. If you are still playing in lower awarenesses, I think that even if somebody shows up, it can be a game of
Yes.
cat and mouse, right? Because so there has what you're speaking of and what we're talking about is experiencing the human journey from a higher awareness, meaning there isn't a lot of shadow. There's not a lot of intense shadow
Right.
still playing out. So when somebody comes in and says, this is it, it's time to go, we're supposed to do this, you're not going to all of a sudden fall into some old school pattern that's going to take you down some road where
Right.
you have to do healing for the next 2 months, right? So there's a level of awareness that allows you to meet
Yeah.
that individual and
Yeah,
just
it's kind of like
click.
an
Next
angel
thing,
showing
next
up in
thing.
human
Got it.
form
So
saying, we agree to this. I'm here. Like lean in.
yeah, I mean, if my partner showed, first of all, we've said this, when my partner shows up, it's going to be, I'm here now, right? And so there's going to be, there will most likely perhaps be a resistance for me of like, holy shit, is this
course,
really,
of course.
is this for real? Like, is this really, right? Like,
Exactly,
what? I don't know. Let
exactly.
me think about this for a second. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Which is probably what happens when we die. We meet all these
But
amazing beings that we've known eternities, and we're like, wait, is this really happening? It's like, yeah, yeah, you're here. And then they adjust your brain, your energy a little bit. Like they're like, you're here, just chill. You're good.
yeah, I love this because it ties into what we were saying earlier today before we got on of the energetic world becoming physical,
Yeah,
meaning you're energetically experiencing yourself sort of in this void, meaning I'm in these higher states, I'm experiencing myself in these new ways of being, but the
right.
physical world hasn't met me yet, right? So here comes a physical manifestation of where you're
And
at.
it knows that it's
It
that it
pops
knows
up
it knows that
and
it's physical
it
manifestation.
knows.
It knows.
Right. And we said that though. We
It
said that we
knows.
said that it's going to know. We said it's going to
Put it
know.
this way, it wouldn't point out any quote unquote shadow if it didn't know.
Right,
Right.
because it knows you so well. It knows the contract so well that it's like your mom is saying, "Sweetheart." It's like your closest friend or your closest parent saying, "Sweetheart, I see what you're doing. It's really cute.
Exactly.
It's time. This is what you've been waiting for." So again, I think it's extremely important to point out the difference between um, a level of awareness where you have done so much sort of internal work, where when and if that individual comes in and is ready for you, you are not going to fall back into these old patterns and these old ways of being. I don't even know if the physical manifestation would even come in if you were still in
It wouldn't, and
I
yeah,
don't
and
think it would before you and
and
I had.
you won't be allowed to go backwards when it comes in. You're not allowed. Like, because you know they're saying the truth. You can feel the
Yeah,
expansion on the spot by just saying, fuck yes, this is what I asked for. And you move into it. It's kind of like if someone is always, when they wake up in the morning and they're always needing to go for their jog. And you're like, yo, why don't we just go for coffee this morning? Like, I think that'd be good for you. Like lean in. And they know
right.
deep down, I know that would be good for me. I have a choice. What will I do? Right. And one of them feels expansive and one of
Yeah,
them feels too familiar. But again, I don't think that it's ever going to
right.
be like across the board with everyone. It's going to be case by case. In other words, when you have a contract with someone that's physical like that, you will both know. And it's not about you, it's about both of you up leveling now. And you each have the resources to make it happen.
Yeah,
So I think
right.
it's for me when I hesitate with people and I'm not excited about it, I'm like, ugh. Then it lets me know they're not it. That it's going to be an energetic dance, and I may not say anything. You see what I mean?
Yeah, so here's the thing, it's really important. It's going to be an energetic dance. Like you have to honor, you have to honor, for me at least, the energetic dance is what it, for me is what is most important. So energetically, how am I experiencing this individual? How am I feeling this energetic exchange back and forth? Now, because you and I do this 24/7, when that individual comes in, they are going to point out that we think we know better than them, meaning, no, 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 I'm following energy. This is what my, and the guy's going to be like, excuse
Right.
me, but no, you're wrong on that one. Right. But I think following the energetic,
Yeah. Yeah.
the intuitiveness, the resonance, and don't ignore that. Think of how many guys you've met in the past year where immediately upon meeting them, it was an absolute no. But there were all these other things that you could have said yes to because of, what it
Yeah.
felt, what it may have like looked like, or what they looked like, but the absolute knowingness, that resonance,
And there's nothing I need to
so
actually do.
quickly with when you,
I I honestly
there's
never do
nothing, and you
anything.
can't change that.
Uh, and then they either go
Right.
away or it just falls away. So it just falls away. But I think um, There's nothing you need to do, is what I'm trying to say. You're just being, and then you're like, you're opening up into more with this person, and you're like, oh, and you want to keep exploring. That's how you know that there's something there. Like I remember when you and I started chatting, it was like a slide every 2 weeks. And then it was like, okay, I feel like I need to explore this. Like there's something here that's big, right? The other thing I was getting about me
Mm-hmm.
and you is if it was supposed to be physical in terms of what we build, it would have already happened. It hasn't happened
A
because
thousand
you and I
percent.
are playing a different role in each other's life. You and I are helping each
Yeah.
other up level in the energetic realm, not in the physical one.
Yes. Yep. We're supporting each other
In that
in that
non-physical
in that
building.
building, in the energetic
So
build.
yeah.
Yeah, in the
And then we
energetic
come
build.
together to
A
celebrate it
thousand
and play,
percent.
you know? And
Yeah. Yeah.
and somehow, and we don't know what's going to happen, but somehow it all at the end of like whatever happens in the next year or two, somehow it pulls together. But it may not be that we build something physically together. It may be that you build something with
Yeah.
someone, I build something with someone, and then somehow it happens.
Yeah. I just love that you know that um uh that we never took things personally with each other. I think that is so powerful. And what I mean by that we didn't take things personally with each other is as we got closer and closer, and as we did that and also internally continue to unravel and peel back and practice presence and practice, do I share this with you, do I not, do I plan this with you or do I not, because we were playing like little kids in that realm. We never took it personally. It was never like, oh my God, Phil doesn't want to do this with me, there's something, what's going on, you just told me that you were going to do this and now you're not going to do
Oh, I just
this.
got it.
For whatever reason, we
Go ahead, go
never.
ahead.
No, I was just going to say because we never did that, we were able to expand together in such a powerful, massive,
Ooh,
unreal way. And
I
that's
got it. I
key.
know why we
That's
were placed in each
key.
other's lives up to now. We laid the foundation so that when those physical people show up, we recognize it as what you and I have been doing. Like we built, we mastered
Oh,
relationship last year together, 2 years. We've mastered what it's like to be in a healthy friendship that isn't codependent. So we laid the foundation for what those physical um, opportunities are going to bring. It's so anchored in us that if the person shows up and they're not able to relate like this, they will fall away.
and also think about the amount of
Right.
unconditional love that we have shown each other. Honestly, like in a way that is not like, it's not like what your mom gives you or your dad gives you, right? It's a deeper expression of I see you and I think you're the most amazing person on the planet.
Yeah.
And having that detached support is like, oh my God, this is what's coming. This is what's coming in my partner. This is what is going
Exactly.
to show up. We
Yeah.
felt it, we
Yeah.
experienced
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. For
Um,
sure.
you know, it's so crazy. I was talking to my mom last night about us, and and it's like it's so obvious to me that there are two distinct paths that we are walking down together, and that is the most important piece. Um, that that this is just what's happening, um, and the way that we grow together without attachment is the greatest gift, because think about that when you're in relationship, even like a new partner coming in, okay? The one that's going to be coming in, the divine man. It's like, even in that, there has to be detachment, meaning there has to be, I'm in this and I love this and we're connected, but I am also
Exactly.
separate. So meaning like there that's codependency. I'm not going to jump over and all of a sudden become
Right.
that individual's expression.
That's why it's so important to
It's
build
it's
and have your own thing, because then you don't need that next thing. You're like, I have here, but I'm happy to flirt
right.
with the idea of us. I'm happy to flirt with this project. I'm happy to flirt because I already have me. I already have, and it doesn't matter what we did together. I could
Exactly.
just crop it out and I'm back to me. That's so important.
Right. And then, but what they're going to do with us, because that's how, because we're so like that, what they're going to do is be like, bitch, chill out. You're good, but come on over and take a look over here
Yeah.
and relax. Let go. You don't need to do it all on your own anymore. You can actually relax in my
Yeah.
arms. I can actually take care of you. I know for me, I'm going to be like, oof, but wait, hold on. Like, really? Like, okay, wait, pause. Like, am I going to lose myself? Am I going to, for me, I know that that's sort of like, can I really trust that I can drop into his arms 100% and I won't lose myself or my work or my, and are they really going to have me, or are they going to try to shift me or change me? And you know what I mean? So it's like, it's really being able to start trusting what that partnership is showing. Like, can I really trust? Do I really believe? That's where like, do I
Yeah.
really
And
believe
you
I'm worthy of that? Like,
sharing, like literally
you know?
spilling your guts out, telling them everything. I told this person yesterday because they had told me they're spontaneous. You know, they had told me they're spontaneous, and I straight up told them yesterday. I'm like, to be honest, I thought maybe you went to look at my videos, and you know that you saw that that's how I live, and you just fed me that so that I could be interested. That's what I said. And but I knew at that point that they had that like they that's not what they did. Um, I knew because the spontaneity was in action. It was in
Yeah.
like it wasn't a lie. It's
Wow.
just
Yeah.
truly spontaneous. This other person truly like very spontaneous. But I had to be like, yeah,
Yeah. I think
yeah.
it's
And I
already
said, look,
being
now I
shown
believe that
you.
you're spontaneous, but in the beginning I didn't. I just thought you knew you went to look at my be a dot or something. So I think we have to be unabashedly
Right.
ourselves. I think we have to be um I'm telling you, this is all about like all the relationship you've had with yourself over the years is now can you prove that you can have that with people? I mean, my best friend in the world is he's completely at peace when he doesn't interact with people. But then when he interacts with other people, sometimes he struggles. It's like mastery isn't going to happen being alone. Is it going to translate in your
I know.
relationship life with everyone around you? Everyone around you. And because staying home is great, but it's a preparation to get out there. You didn't come here to be a spirit, meaning you didn't come here to not play. You didn't come here to not do. You didn't come here to not accomplish. But the relationship that you've been cultivating with your own self can that spill over into actual relationships now? They're the same. It's one and the same. Everything is it's just a everything is
It's one.
relationship. Everything is relationship. You're either in a relationship with your higher self or you're in a relationship with the world around you. And it's both.
Yeah, and I think that the like we were saying earlier, the physical reality is now going to catch up to your energetic reality, and so it's going to start to say, "Are you ready? Can you?" Because it's a lot of us have been in hermit mode. A lot of us have been in isolation mode. A lot of us have been so inward focused that it's time now. 2022, how many videos have you done in the past month? The 2022 is the year of actual physical manifestation of a reality and a life that we've been waiting for, or that we've been knowing is
Exactly.
available to us. But it can't manifest, quote unquote manifest, just meaning show up physically, if you don't say
Yeah.
yes to it, meaning when it shows up, Okay. Are you going to play in the new energetic version of you that you've been hanging out in for the last however many years? Right. Or are you going to show up? Are you going to unconsciously fall back into the old sort of patterns or the old ways of being? I mean, 2022 is literally asking us to say, okay, this is what you wanted. This is what you've been creating internally.
Yeah.
Go and do it now. Go and
This,
play. Go and be. Go and be. Go and
this is
be
how I
what you've
see
been
it.
saying.
Like you have 7.8 billion humans, and they all look like thermometers. All of them. Or they look like glasses of water. And everyone has to do the same amount of work. Meaning everyone has to go through pain. Like you can't not go through pain in this life. I don't think that's possible. Everyone goes through pain in their own respective manner. And then the cup fills, right? And the universe is like, man, they're really hanging in there. Like they are really doing the work. They are feeling the pain. They are feeling the sadness, right? They are clearing their traumas. And if you can imagine 7.8 billion humans that all look like these water glasses. And you might be like, oh my God, this has been so painful. And you eventually reach the brim. And the universe is like, okay, cool. Send them everything in the physical. Like, we'll give them a break and we'll move on to the other human. Like, because we're all in this together.
Mm.
And sometimes it's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna go, and then, but we're all working together. Even though we don't know each other, we all know each other on a spiritual level. So everyone has to do the same amount of work. And sometimes someone will have to fall back into their old patterns because they haven't completed the filling of that brim of that cup, right? And then once you light up, it's imagine there are 7.8 billion stick figures that are black and white, and they're all going through like a lot. Some of them are having a great time. They're riding horses, so they're already colored, fully colored. And they're riding horses. They're like they don't have a care in the world. And then the universe goes, cool. Let them enjoy that. Like right now, they're on break. They're on a break, and everyone else is like suffering, right? And then another human reaches the tip of their suffering, and it's like, okay, give this human a break. Let him go play. Now let her go play. Now let him go play. Now the person that was on the
Mm.
horse goes through something hard. Do you see what I mean? It's like
I
it's,
love
it's
this.
like a
This is so,
passing around of
yeah,
everyone is going to get to have their great life. But sometimes there's still stuff you have to
right.
kind of go through that feels painful because it's not your time yet. And then someone else will cover your shift and you can go play. And then boom, you might come back around and cover, you know what I mean?
Yep.
It
And
doesn't
I don't
stop.
think it ever
No, it doesn't
stops.
stop. I think what happens is you're no longer dealing with the details of the slower vibrations, meaning you're no longer dealing with stuff you dealt with before that felt more heavy.
Right. It becomes less dense. I guess that's
Yeah.
the word I would use. Heavy. It becomes less. So because I think that we're always going to have, there may be years where we don't have discomfort or pain, but I feel like it's inevitable for quite some time that it's an illusion to think that we're still not going to experience pain throughout life. If we don't, what a gift. Maybe it's a gift. I don't know if it's a gift to not experience pain. I think that that's part of the contract we made in becoming experiencing the human journey, is that that's the trade-off, right? And to try to negate it or try to pretend that I'm trying to escape ever feeling uncomfortable or pain again, as if that's a sign of enlightenment. I mean, I don't know, but I think that thermometer thing, I think if you can hold the detached awareness that what a gift when I'm in when the thermometer is higher up, what a gift when I'm in there, right? And what a gift when I'm
And the
not,
universe
because none of
knows
it
that. Like
stays.
the universe knows
None of,
that. Like so it's not it's pain, but it's more like a growing pain. It's more like, yeah, it's if you think about
exactly.
seeds that are under the mud or the soil, they're in the darkness, they're suffering, but they're not. But let's just imagine humans are like these little seeds that are suffering, they're in the dark, they don't know what's going to next. But you already have flowers that are having a great jolly time with the sun and like with in the garden, like they're already out there feeling the wind. They're enjoying life. And the whole time the seed is like, what about me? Like when is my life going to unblock? Right? And eventually a flower dies off and then whatever you grow and then whatever, I don't know. But my point you're always going to
Yeah.
move into the light. You're always burst into the light because the
First.
light is calling
Oh,
you. The light had you the whole time. So it was like, let them go through growing pains because I already have them. It doesn't matter. It's an illusion. The growing pain,
yes. Has you
the whole
the
time,
light has you
like
the
the
whole
sun
time.
already
It's
knows
such
you're
a
going to
freaking
bloom. The sun, everything knows. The soil already knows. Like they're going through pain, but it's just a growing pain. It's actually going to be exquisite when they come out of it.
and the seed doesn't know. So the seed's looking around at the flower saying, how the fuck did you
Right.
get there? How did you get so beautiful? Like, I'm here. And the flower's like, dude, chill out. I promise you're in the
Right.
same place I am, meaning you have the same light
Yeah,
that's
and your
pulling
time will
you,
come. Like your time will
right?
come, but right now you have a duty. That's what makes it possible for us to become flowers. So like you have a duty. It like what makes it possible for us to have a great life is to eliminate everything that made us have a shitty life. So it's like we have to go through an
Yeah.
elimination process of all the old beliefs, which is so painful. The belief that, oh my God, other flowers are having fun. That's a painful belief. But the belief,
Yeah.
yeah, but the
They're
belief that I'm
better than me.
growing and I know my time will come. So it's all of this pain is temporary. It's just a growing pain. That's all it is.
Yeah. And then someone just asked, well, how do
You
you
can't
chill when
you
you're
like you have to
struggling? I
accept
mean,
that part of the journey is you're gonna go through the pain. You're gonna grow. You don't have a choice but to go
exactly.
through it.
The struggle, when you say I'm struggling, the reason that you're struggling is because you are resisting what is occurring within you. You don't like it, so you want to change it, you want to fix it because there is a judgment around it. There is no struggling when there's no
Yeah.
judgment. It does not exist. If you take out
You'll still
judgment, there
yeah,
will
you'll
be no
still feel it
struggle.
as a struggle,
So
but it'll have a positive connotation. Like I'm fucking struggling right now, but I know that I'm bursting into my true self. Yeah.
right, the lens you're using, you won't buy into the struggle. Sure, you're going to say,
Yeah.
you're going to label it as struggling, but as soon as you understand through awareness what is actually occurring, which is always this alchemical energetic process, or a shifting of you, a growing from the seed to the flower, if you have that awareness, honest to God, if you simply have that awareness, you will not resist or restrict or fight against what is happening, regardless of how uncomfortable it is, regardless of how you want it to change, regardless of how, you're sick of it, blah, 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 whatever that is. Simply having the
100%.
awareness shifts everything. If the seed has the awareness of, oh my God, I'm actually going to become that flower. I know that, right? But I still don't like being a seed. I don't like being here.
Right.
Great. Welcome to the human
Exactly.
journey. Welcome. But if you let go of struggle, I'm struggling, I'm struggling, I'm struggling, I'm struggling. No, it's called the motherfucking human journey. You're in something that doesn't feel good. This is how you shift. This is alchemy. This is evolution. And you get to have the human emotions around it, but
Exactly.
you don't
And we
attach to
also
the
have to
human
keep in mind
emotions
that
of
it's
it.
nothing about this is linear. Some people may never struggle. They might be born into wealth. They might struggle a little bit, but they won't struggle much. We have to accept that too, right? That we have to accept that like in this life, someone might have an easier life and other people might have to do more work. Like we have to be okay with that because it's all of it. It's all of it. Where some people will never wake up spiritually. That's part of it. That's the truth, right?
Yeah.
So we have to accept that even though we all have the same amount of work to do, sometimes we'll just come into this life to have a good time. Other people will come into this life to have a very
Yeah.
painful time. Um, it's going to depend. I think it's a case by case thing, but ultimately in the quantum field, if we looked at it from a quantum perspective, everyone has the same amount of work to do.
Yeah, because every single person is
Well,
in the
yeah,
human experience. So if you're in the human experience, you're programmed. You're in trauma in some way. I mean, it's no matter what life you've lived, you can't escape
no,
the programming. And it's the programming that creates the thoughts and the beliefs and the behaviors and the relationships and all of that stuff that we've encased within us and made us believe is who we are and how we experience the world.
It's tricky though. It's
Um,
tricky because if you fully
and it's
surrender, it's possible that you would spiral down into homelessness. You know what I mean? Like if you fully release all attachments, it's very possible that you could end. Think about it. If you decided I'm not paying my bills, I'm not doing anything anymore, I'm going to fully surrender to my true self, you might end up homeless. So that's where the balance
yeah.
is
So
in
there has
life.
to be
Is like this thing of like knowing when to go, knowing when to lean into your partner, knowing, right? Because the universe doesn't want you to be homeless. It's identifying and recognizing when something does come in to propel you forward, right? And then surrender within
right.
that, and then pushing, like bursting through again, and then surrendering within that. Surrendering doesn't mean like don't pay your bills anymore and like detach from all of life. Although you can say that that would be a very high level of enlightenment, very high level, because you become the void. So, but
You become the void.
you also
You
don't
literally
you
become
become
the
the void,
void.
but you're also not here to avoid that you came here to have an amazing life. So it's like, no, I came into this life not to be homeless because that wouldn't be self-loving. I came into this life to have a blast, to know when to surrender, but to also know when to lean in.
Yeah, it's interesting. The it's either black or white
Yeah,
in is right. So it's like no, it's gray. There's so much gray in this because I don't know about you, but my life has become quite very simple, and yet it's not that I don't enjoy the beautiful things in life, you know, and it's not that I don't have abundance. It's just that life has become
yeah,
so simple and so easy and so slow, but I'm not letting go of life. I'm not not participating in life in order to be some enlightened human. I love the human journey. I love the things that you can buy with money. I love having a roof over my head. I like having a car that works. Like I'm good, you know, being um, in it. But I understand it though. I think that's the awareness around it of what it is and does it have a hold on me? Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't.
yeah,
I don't know. You know, I don't know if I don't really care. I just know that life is definitely getting simpler. Life
yeah,
is getting slower. Life is getting easier. Life is dissolving around me. You know, someone said on this, there's no such thing as evolution. And I think that that is an absolute falsity because, at least for myself, I can only speak for
yeah.
myself.
I don't think that.
Um, but I know that who I was 2 years ago, I mean, who I was 2 years ago, who I was 3 months ago is not the same individual.
Yeah, to
So
me,
that is
evolution.
evolution.
There's two pieces to this. There's the non-evolutionary piece, which is that you're just pure being. God is pure being. Is happening. It's all happening within the mind of God. So from that perspective, there is no evolution. But what's happening within the mind of God, what's happening within the universal mind is evolution. It's physicality evolving. So, so the evolution, from one perspective,
Yeah.
is illusory. But uh, it's happening in the physical, meaning um, transgender people, all that is accepted now. That's an evolution within this time space. It's beautiful. I was out for dinner yesterday. There was a table of 20 transgenders, and I loved it. I thought to myself, they couldn't have done this 10 years ago. There was so much shame. So, from
Right.
that perspective, whether this
Yeah.
is an illusionary time space that we're in, 2022, or not, within this time space, there's an evolution. Within, we don't
Yeah.
want to negate or invalidate that there's a physical evolution happening in the world. I love that transgender people can go to a dinner and no one even cares. They're like, "Yay!" Like it's just like we're all equal. But that wasn't there 10 years ago. The energetic potential was there,
Right.
but all those people had to really struggle. They were like the seed under the soil that were struggling. I wish I could go out to a restaurant
Right.
and I can't. I have too much, right? And then it's like,
Right.
and eventually they pop through. They had to. Part of their mission was to
Right.
actualize that. So while they were
Right.
holding it in and while they were being with themselves, there was a volcano that was in the midst of erupting, and it eventually erupted, and then now everyone's celebrating each other, right? So from the physical perspective, there's absolutely unequivocally a an evolutionary process. Your
Of
teeth growing is
course. Of
evolution,
course.
but it's still activity. I know what the
Yeah.
person means. It's still activity within the mind of God, and God is unchanging. So it's the all that is. Nothing, the
Yeah.
all that is the all that, every potential, every possibility. So from that perspective, the all that is doesn't evolve. It's just it's experiencing it in a
Right.
dream, and all the movement in that dream is evolution. The evolution isn't actually happening because it's only happening within that dream, but the dream itself is sophisticating itself. It's becoming more sophisticated. So from that perspective, there is physical evolution. Yeah.
Right. And the dream is real. It's like when people say none of this is real. And they do this whole philosophical statement of like, well, none of this is actually real. And it's like, okay, but let's get real. You're still you're
Oh
playing
my.
the human, that's real. Your
Oh yeah. Oh
physicality,
yeah.
that's real. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's such I can't stand when people are like, yeah, but none of it is real. So
It's
what is
bullshit because
like it's all you're
I've
all
seen a lot of
yeah.
non-dualism teachers out there who are like, no, no, it's fine.
I can't
Non-dualism is
stand
fine,
it.
but there are a lot of people who are teaching non-duality, but it's like, yo, you're still showing up and teaching. That's duality. So if you were truly non-dual, you would even surrender the urge to want to teach. You
If
wouldn't
you were non-dual, you would be able to right, but if you were non-dual, if you were literally living non-dualistically, you would accept duality. You
right.
wouldn't be attached to the fact that you have to be non-dual. The fact that you attach to being
Yeah,
non-dual is duality. So meaning so if you are a non-dualistic teacher, okay, if you're really truly living
just pure
in not
beingness.
and yeah, you're not going to debate duality.
Yeah, but
It
you're
just
not even gonna
is.
show up and teach a class. So like I've already checked in psychically.
Right.
If I said to any one of those teachers, "Oh, really, you really are non-dual? I dare you to not show up for a year." They wouldn't do it because there's a deeper
Right.
calling. That calling is in duality.
Of course, everything is still in duality. So that's why it's when you die, okay, and you're out of the physical realm, you're gonna be like, fuck, I was in such a physical world. It was such a gift, and I was trying to negate it by talking about what is inevitable, which is the unified field. Everything just is. Everything is one. Everything is source. Everything has come from the same cloth. Yes, but why did I come down into physicality?
Yeah,
Right? You came into physicality. Even if you have that awareness, you're not designed to live from that awareness. You're designed to live in the duality, in the anger and the happiness. You're
yeah,
here to devour that. With even if you have the awareness of non-duality, which we all should have. Like that's not something unique or
yeah. We're
special. Do
evolved.
you know what I
What it
mean?
is we come into physicality to evolve the game so that there is less suffering for future generations. That's what it is. So it's like to
Exactly.
negate
Yes.
evolution would be to say that it's okay for children to come back in the amount of suffering that we came into.
Right. Did
And
we not
again,
evolve
whether
at
this
all?
time
Right?
space
Are
is
we
an
not
illusion or not, when we die, this time space will continue. So there will be souls that incarnate in this time space. There could be a billion time spaces. You feel me? Like this might not be a thing in another
Yep.
dimension, but in this time space, the lines of this time space will continue. The souls that choose to incarnate in
Right.
this particular region or in this particular time space, they will not have to deal with homophobia again. They won't. But this is where it
Yeah.
gets tricky. When you're this is where it gets tricky. If you have an option to incarnate in the 1900s, okay, or in the 1800s as someone who is gay and homophobia exists, then you're like a Jesus going in, like, cool, cast the stones. I already know what's happening. Like, you guys can't fight this. This is what's
Right.
happening, right? But then you might become Jesus and get killed. But you're such an evolved being that you're going in to the game knowing it's just a game. kind of
which is
cool.
kind of what
It's
we're
kind
doing
of
right
cool. Like if you
now.
think about it, going back to 1920, another time space where people are still stuck in certain beliefs, and you're coming from the 2000s, you would go in and have a ball. Could you imagine being with your friends and being like, "Hey, so guys, in 1990, this is going to happen."
I feel like what you just said is it, it's what a lot of us are doing now. We have the awareness of the
Right.
quote unquote future. We're living in sort of like a past, but we're aware. We're it's so hard to describe this in words. At least for me, and I think for you as well, and many others probably, that you're aware of what you are creating or unraveling or
Yes.
working through right now, based on the future, which which already is. So it's so, for instance, in the 1900s, that you incarnate as a gay man, but you already know that in 100 years
Yep.
this is already resolved. So it doesn't even matter that there is this conflict, except that you incarnated in order to sort of heal the conflict, right? But you already know that in a
Yeah.
hundred
You
years
would
it's
blow
already
people's mind.
healed,
It would be so
right? That's evolution.
advanced that people's minds would literally be blown, and there would be so much that gets stirred up because they would hate the fact that you're right, because what you're saying is like
Right.
irrefutable. But yeah, I love talking about present, future, and stuff like that. Like, I also feel like a part of us,
It's
even
so
though we
fun.
are these futuristic beings who are kind of in the past right now, we kind of kept some things hidden from ourselves because we wanted to prove to ourselves that if we do keep working with our energy, then this physical world can actually become heaven. It can actually be like we kept an element of surprise for ourselves. That's how confident we were that that incarnating into a heavy reality would inevitably be dismantled by us. So we kept, I don't know if I'm making sense, but we kept an element of surprise because we didn't
Yeah.
want to ruin the movie for ourselves. Like we didn't want it'd be so boring if there weren't other souls like us who surprised us sometimes.
Right. It's
Who didn't
fascinating to think
I'm
that
sorry, who didn't surprise.
that there, yeah, that we knew that we were going to be at this place where we are right now, right? In our consciousness and our awareness. Um, and that there are always, I don't want to say tricks, but there's always something in our back pocket that we're not aware of yet that is coming down the
Yeah.
chute for us, right? So there's all these little surprises that we being the consciousness behind the human experience, okay, that observer, that all knowingness, sort of whatever word you want to use, spirit, soul, whatever, God, that they know that, or it knows that there are surprises coming for you that we've hidden from ourselves, that are going to present as we continue to commit to
And
whatever it is that we're doing
that's why
here.
we feel so
We just keep.
comforted when we look at someone and we say everything's going to be okay. And like we know it's going to be okay for them. There's an immediate shift that happens within our emotions where we feel reassured, we feel comforted. So we almost have to start looking at consciousness or God or source or the universe as like it's like, okay, let Lori Ladd go through that right now. We already know we're going to pull her out of it. Let Phil go
Yeah.
through this right now. We already know we're going to pull it out. And then their job is to remain open. Their job is to remain transparent. Their job is to know that the outcome is always going to be the same. So there's nothing. It's kind of like if I said to you, Lori, um, in 10 years you're going to be a multi-billionaire, right? So it doesn't matter if you buy an apartment in New York or not. To think about it is a limitation. It's a limitation to even think about it. If you want something, just do it because
Right.
you already know who you're going to be, kind of thing. Um, but I kind of feel like,
Exactly.
oh, anyways, I think I should. Yeah, I think that's all I've got for now. I think I'm gonna check in with my sister because I want to make sure that my sister's in town, you guys. But yeah, I think did people
Yay. I'm
say
so
anything about our chat
excited.
today?
Um, yeah. They're all feeling it. Let's see. Let me see. Let me read. Love being here with you guys. I love that. I love you, Phil. Sometimes it resonates, sometimes it doesn't. There's been a couple creepy people on that have tried to steal
Did
the
you
spotlight,
didn't
which
kick
has
them
been
out?
interesting.
Oh, okay.
I kicked one of them out. The other one went away, but yeah, I kicked one of them out. Let's see. I love this
I feel
duo.
like we should do like
Gracias.
we should hang up and do a 3 minute video together. Would you be down?
Okay, I'm
Yay!
always down. These lives are real. Yay! If Phil taps something, love you too.
That's
Best chat ever,
by
ever.
the way, real quick, do you know how to like have your text messages show up on they're already on my laptop, but it's not up to date. Like they look old.
Oh,
I'll figure it out. It's probably an accessibility.
oh, it's not syncing. It's not
It's probably an
syncing.
accessibility thing.
Are you, what's happening is it's not syncing. So like whatever your
Right.
text messages on your phone, it's not showing up on your computer. Yeah, it has to do with
Okay.
syncing. I don't know how to change
Okay.
that.
Figure it out. I'll just Google it.
Um, but yeah, so I will save this live. I will stick it on my Instagram and Facebook
It
and
was
my
very out there, I
YouTube
think, what we talked
channel.
about today. But
Yeah, it was very
I loved it.
quantumish, but whatevs. Sometimes we do that. People still don't understand that you're into guys. A lot of people still think that like that you're. I don't know
I
if
don't
they're
know.
following
I'm
you.
into
How do they
guys,
not
but it's
know?
really hard for me to call myself gay now. I just don't like labels. But I'm not into women, but I just
Yeah,
don't
I
like
know.
labels. I don't belong in
I know it's
any label,
programming.
but I just happen to like guys. That's it. But I really have a hard time
Yeah,
with labels, you know. But if someone said, "Are you gay?" I would say, "Yeah." I don't. It's fine. I, yeah.
yeah. Well, listen, I'm glad that we jumped on.
Me too.
I had a great time. Let's
Let's
do a
do it.
quick 3 minute. That would be a lot of fun. All right, love you guys. Thanks for
Bye.
being here with us. Bye.